Let me ask you something. How many of you want success? Raise your hand if you're ready to live a life bigger than your fears, bigger than your doubts. Good, but here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Success doesn't just fail because the world is against you. Success fails because of one enemy that hides in plain sight. It's not your boss. It's not the economy. It's not even talent. It's something far more dangerous because it whispers to you every day and you don't even notice it. It lulls you into comfort. It convinces you that small, safe choices are enough. It tells you it's fine. You can wait. Someone else will do it. That enemy wears many faces. Sometimes it looks like fear. Sometimes it looks like laziness. Sometimes it looks like endless excuses. And every time you let it in, steals a little piece of your dreams until one day you wake up and realize your life is not what you imagined. But here's the good news. Once you see it, once you name it, once you face it, you can destroy it. You can take back control of your destiny. You can turn small, everyday decisions into unstoppable momentum. Tonight, I'm going to show you the 6 biggest ways this enemy sneaks into your life. And more importantly, how to crush it, how to break free, how to finally step into the life you were meant to live. And if you stay with me, if you listen carefully, I promise you'll leave not just inspired, but armed with the tools to take action. Because knowing isn't enough, you must do. You ready? I want you to imagine something for a moment. Picture your life as a vast field of possibilities. Every dream, every goal, every desire you've ever had is just waiting for you somewhere out there, ready to be claimed. There's something standing in your way, not outside, not in the economy, not in the people around you, but something inside. That thing is your comfort zone. And it's the quietest, sneakiest enemy you will ever face. Because it doesn't scream at you. It doesn't demand attention. It whispers. It lulls you. It tells you you're fine. Stay here. Don't rock the boat. Don't make waves. And the danger is it feels good. Comfort is seductive. Makes you feel safe. Makes you feel secure. Makes you feel like everything is okay even when everything is not. It's like a warm blanket on a cold night. It wraps around you and makes you reluctant to leave. You know, that little voice inside that says, I'll start tomorrow. I'll make that change next week. I'll take that risk eventually. And the problem is tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month. And before you know it, months and years have passed and nothing has changed. Think about it. How many people do you know who complain about their life but never do anything to change it? How many people you see are stuck in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, routines that bore them to death, and yet they don't move? And why? Because they've chosen comfort over growth. They've allowed safety to trump progress. They've allowed the fear of stepping into the unknown to chain them in the known, even if the known is miserable. Here's the thing about comfort zones. They're easy. They don't challenge you. They don't stretch you. And growth, success, mastery, they are never easy. Every great achievement, every moment of triumph, every story you admire, it didn't happen inside comfort. It happened outside. It happened when someone said yes to fear, yes to uncertainty, yes to the unknown, and yes to themselves. And you can do the same, but you must be willing to feel the discomfort. You must be willing to step into the tension, to move through the awkwardness, to face the resistance, because that's where transformation lies. You see, the moment you stay comfortable, you start shrinking. The human mind, the human spirit, they're designed to grow, to expand, to reach higher. But when you sit in safety, when you settle for mediocrity, something happens slowly, your energy fades, your ideas dim, your courage withers. And before you know it, the life you dreamed about isn't gone because the world took it away. It's gone because you stopped reaching for it. You stopped fighting for it. You allowed yourself to be lured into ease instead of purpose. Let me tell you something else. Comfort zones are deceptive. They make you believe you're secure, but in reality, they're a prison. They keep you from discovering your potential. They keep you from understanding what you're truly capable of. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, even in small ways, you expand it. You increase what you can handle, what you can achieve, what you can endure. You teach yourself, I can do more. I am capable of more. I am stronger than I thought. And that's where real growth starts, not in doing what's easy, but in doing what's necessary. Think about it. When was the last time you did something that scared you? Was the last time you did something that made you sweat, that made your heart race, that made your mind scream, I don't know if I can do this? That's exactly where you need to go. Because inside that fear, inside that discomfort is the life you want. Inside that tension is the success you're looking for. And the truth is, nobody ever achieved extraordinary results by staying comfortable. Nobody ever transformed their life by playing it safe. The people you admire, the people who inspire you, they embraced the tension. They leaned into the discomfort. They chose growth over ease every single day. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but I have responsibilities. I can't just throw myself into the unknown. I have bills. I have family. I have obligations, and I get it. Growth doesn't mean recklessness. Growth doesn't mean abandoning everything. It means making choices, smart choices that stretch you beyond what you thought possible while still honoring your life. Growth is about incremental courage. It's about saying yes to challenges that expand your capabilities. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your actions. And here's the thing, the more you practice this, the more your comfort zone expands naturally. What once felt impossible, once felt terrifying, starts to feel achievable. once made your heart race with dread now makes your heart beat with excitement. Here's a secret: your comfort zone is not your friend. It's a trap. It's holding you hostage without you even knowing it. Every day you choose comfort over action. You're telling yourself, I'm not ready. I can't handle it. But the truth is, you are ready. You have more strength, more resilience, more capability than you realize. You were designed to grow, to challenge yourself, to reach heights that seem unimaginable. But you have to step outside, you have to stretch, and you have to embrace discomfort like it's the path to your freedom. And it's not just about taking huge leaps. By the way, it's about the small daily actions that chip away at your limits. It's about doing the things you've been avoiding, having the conversations you've been postponing, taking the risks that scare you, pushing yourself a little further than yesterday. Those tiny steps add up. That's how transformation happens. That's how comfort zones crumble. That's how ordinary lives become extraordinary. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with today to examine your life. Ask yourself where you are settling. You are playing it safe, where you are letting comfort dictate your choices. Be honest with yourself. Identify the areas where you are shrinking instead of growing. And then commit. Commit to taking at least one action outside of that comfort zone starting today. Don't wait. Don't overthink. Take the step and feel the discomfort, because that discomfort is the signal that you're moving in the right direction. That discomfort is the sign that you are growing, evolving, and becoming the person you were meant to be. Remember, this comfort may feel safe, but growth feels alive. Comfort may feel easy, but success feels worth every ounce of struggle. Comfort may whisper lies to keep you small, but courage shouts truth, and truth will set you free. If you want success, if you want fulfillment, if you want a life that matters, you have to stop letting comfort decide for you. You have to step into the tension. You have to embrace the unknown. You have to feel the fear, move through it, and discover the power on the other side. Because the only way to reach the life you're capable of is to do the very thing your comfort zone tells you not to do. And that is the first step to destroying the enemy of success. I want you to take a moment and think about what fear does to you. Not the fear of a spider, not the fear getting caught in the rain, but the fear that stops you from stepping forward, the fear that holds you back from the life you've always dreamed of. That's the real danger. Fear is invisible, silent, relentless. It doesn't announce itself with a warning. It slips into your mind quietly, disguising itself as logic, safety, even common sense. And before you know it, it's in control. Fear has a way of convincing you that staying small is smart, that taking risks is reckless, that aiming for your dreams is foolish. And you listen because it feels safe. You follow its instructions because it's comfortable to believe that life is safer if you don't push, if you don't try, if you don't fail. Let me tell you something right now. Fear doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It keeps you from stepping into your full potential. It keeps you trapped in a version of life far smaller than what you're capable of. The thing about fear is that it doesn't have to be rational to control you. You can know deep down that your dream is worth pursuing. You can know that the risk is manageable. You can know that the reward is within reach. And still, fear can stop you cold. It whispers, what if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you can't handle it? And suddenly your dream feels impossibly far away. Not because it is, but because your mind has built walls that don't exist. Every time you give in to fear, you reinforce its power. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, I'm not ready, or I'll wait until later, you allow fear to shape your reality. And the most terrifying thing, that later may never come. You may spend months, years, decades listening to fear instead of following courage. And when you finally realize what you've missed, it's not the world that let you down. It's the fear you allowed to dominate your choices. But here's the secret. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. Fear is not reality. Fear is not truth. Fear is a story you tell yourself about what might happen. And when you step up, when you move forward despite it, you discover that the story was a lie. You discover that the monster under the bed was never real, and that the risk you feared was not as dangerous as your imagination made it out to be. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Courage is saying, I will move forward. Try, I will grow. Even though fear is screaming at me to stop, I want you to think about the moments in your life when fear had you frozen. Maybe it was an opportunity you didn't take, a conversation you didn't have, a challenge you avoided. How did that feel? Empty, regretful, disappointing. That feeling is the cost of fear. And the truth is that cost compounds. Every missed opportunity builds on the last, till you wake up one day and realize that your life is defined more by fear than by your dreams. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can break free. You can take control. You can say, refuse to let fear make my decisions anymore. And here's the most powerful thing about facing fear. The moment you confront it, it loses its grip. The moment you step forward, even in the smallest way, fear begins to shrink. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. You prove that your potential is bigger than your worry. You discover that what you feared most, rejection, failure, embarrassment, was never the end of the world. It was just a test. Every time you pass that test, every time you act in spite of fear, you grow, you expand, you claim more of your life than you ever thought possible. Fear is also contagious. The people around you, the culture you live in, the media you consume, they feed it. They remind you of all the reasons not to act, all the reasons not to try, all the reasons you should stay small. And if you're not careful, you start listening. You start believing that the fear of what might happen is more important than the potential of what could happen. But here's the truth. The world doesn't owe you safety. The world doesn't owe you comfort. The world doesn't even owe you fairness. It does owe you as opportunity, but only if you step into it, only if you rise above fear, only if you refuse to let fear dictate the size of your life. Let's talk about the real cost of fear. Fear doesn't just hold you back. It robs you of time, energy, and potential. It keeps you busy with avoidance, busy with excuses, busy with second guessing yourself instead of building the life you want. Fear keeps you small, but life was never meant to be small. You were never meant to tiptoe through existence. You were never meant to shrink into the background while watching others create, achieve, and conquer. You were meant to stand up, to rise, to dare to live fully, and to claim what is yours. And here's something even more important. Fear is always louder before a breakthrough. Every time you feel fear rising, it's a signal that you are on the edge of something big. Every time fear screams at you, it's a sign that you are about to grow, about to stretch, about to step into a version of yourself you didn't know existed. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a warning that you are stepping out of the ordinary and moving into extraordinary. So when fear comes, don't retreat, lean into it, feel it, respect it. Then take action anyway, because the action is what dissolves the fear, what transforms the fear into power, what turns anxiety into momentum. Think about it. Every great person, every person who achieved something remarkable had fear. Every one of them felt the panic, the doubt, the insecurity, the worry, the question of, can I do this? But the difference between them and everyone else is that they acted anyway. They didn't wait for fear to vanish. They didn't wait to feel ready. They didn't wait for certainty. They understood that courage is not waiting for absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it over and over again until fear loses its power completely. And here's the challenge I want to leave with you today. Identify your fear. Name it, face it, look it in the eyes, and then make a decision to act anyway. Take one small step, one bold choice, one decisive move toward your goal. Feel the fear, but do it anyway, because that step, no matter how small, is the first crack in the prison walls. That step is the beginning of freedom. That step is where your life changes forever. Fear is powerful, but your courage is stronger. Fear is relentless, but your desire to live fully is unstoppable. Fear will always try to stop you, but your actions will always define you. And that is the second enemy you must confront if you want success. Let's talk about something that affects every single one of us, something we all do, whether we admit it or not, and that's procrastination. That little thief that creeps and quietly steals your time and convinces you that tomorrow is always better than today. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how smart you are, how much potential you have. If you let procrastination run your life, you will never reach the heights you're capable of. Procrastination is not just a habit, it's a lifestyle of missed opportunities, and it is one of the biggest enemies of success. Think about it for a moment. Every day, there are tasks you know you should make, choices you know you should make, actions you know will move you closer to your goals. And what do we do instead? We wait, we push it off. We convince ourselves, start tomorrow, I'll get to it later. I just need a little more time. But here's the truth, time doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause because you're not ready. Time doesn't give you another chance because you hesitated. Every moment you trade today for tomorrow is a moment that never comes back, and the cumulative effect of that is devastating. Procrastination is more than just laziness. It's fear disguised as delay. It's avoidance dressed up as planning. It's hesitation pretending to be wisdom. And the danger is it feels productive. You tell yourself, I'm just gathering information. I'm just preparing. I'm just waiting for the right moment. But the right moment rarely comes. Doesn't hand out perfect conditions. The perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan, they are illusions. What separates those who succeed from those who fail is the willingness to act, even when conditions aren't perfect, even when fear is whispering, even when the timing feels uncomfortable. I want you to think about the times in your life when you procrastinated. Maybe it was a project, a relationship, a dream, a change you wanted to make. How did it feel afterward? Regretful, frustrated. That feeling is the cost of procrastination, and it compounds. Every time you put off what matters, every time you trade today for tomorrow, you're building a pattern that becomes harder to break. You train your mind to delay, to doubt, to stall, and eventually inaction becomes your default. But here's the beautiful part, procrastination can be overcome. Not by motivation alone, because motivation is fleeting. Not by luck, because luck favors those who act. Procrastination is overcome by decisions and action. By deciding that today, right now, you will take the next step towards your goal. By committing to action even when you don't feel ready, the task seems overwhelming, even when fear is screaming at you to wait. That is how momentum is built. That is how success is achieved. Let me break it down for you. Procrastination is a habit of the mind, and like any habit, it can be changed. You must first recognize the patterns. When you procrastinate, is it when the task feels too big, too uncertain, too uncomfortable? Identify the triggers, because awareness is the first step toward mastery. Once you see it, you can act against it. You can create systems and routines that force action. You can set deadlines that hold you accountable. You can surround yourself with people who demand results. But most importantly, you can make the choice every single day, act immediately rather than delay. The irony is that action always reduces fear and doubt. The moment you start, the moment you take the first step, the energy shifts. Suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes possible. Seemed overwhelming becomes manageable. What seems scary becomes a challenge you can meet. Procrastination makes tasks grow in your mind, makes obstacles appear bigger than they are, and makes fear feel stronger than it is. Action shrinks them. Action clarifies, action empowers. Every time you act, you chip away at the chains of procrastination and move closer to the life you want. And it's not just about big actions. Small, consistent actions compound into massive results. Person who writes one paragraph a day will eventually finish the book. The person who makes one sales call today will eventually close the deal. The person who starts exercising for 10 minutes will eventually transform their body. It's the daily commitment to action, no matter how small, that erodes procrastination and builds success. But you must start not tomorrow, not next week, not after the perfect moment. Now, procrastination also steals your confidence. Every time you delay, you tell yourself, I can't handle this, I'm not ready, I'll do it later. And your mind starts to believe it. Your self-image shrinks. You start to doubt your ability to succeed, your ability to handle challenges, your ability to take control of your life. But when you act even imperfectly, even with fear or hesitation, you rebuild that confidence. You prove to yourself that you are capable. You prove to yourself that you can move mountains if you just start. That proof is invaluable because confidence compounds faster than skill. Here's another truth the world doesn't reward procrastinators. Opportunities don't wait. Time doesn't pause. People who act decisive, relentless, committed individuals get the wins, the breakthroughs, the results. They take imperfect action, learn as they go, adjust, and keep moving. They understand that waiting for perfect conditions is a trap. They understand that action creates momentum. Momentum creates success. Procrastination keeps you stuck. Action sets you free. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. That's exactly the moment when you must act. Start small. Start with one step, one task, one call, one email, one decision. Action is a muscle and it grows stronger the more you use it. The moment you move, you build momentum, and momentum is unstoppable. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, not by waiting, not by planning endlessly, but by doing, by starting, by moving, by refusing to give procrastination any more power over their life. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with today. Look at your life and ask yourself where you are procrastinating. What is the one thing you've been putting off that, if acted on today, could change everything? And then do it. Don't wait. Overthink. Don't let fear or doubt or perfectionism stop you. Take the step. Start the task. Make the call. Write the email. Take that action that moves your life forward. And then take the next one and the next one and the next one, because action compounds and procrastination dies in the presence of relentless momentum. Remember this, tomorrow is not promised. Time is the most precious resource you have, and procrastination steals it silently. Every second you delay, trading your potential, your dreams, your destiny for a lie called comfort. But when you act, when you commit, when you refuse to wait, you take back control, you move closer to your goals, you transform your life. You prove to yourself that you are not a victim of delay, you are a master of action. And that is the third enemy you must conquer if you want success. Let's be honest for a moment. How many times have you told yourself a story, a reason, justification for why you haven't done what you know you should? How many times have you said, I can't because or it's not the right time, or I don't have enough? These are excuses. And let me tell you, excuses are one of the most destructive forces standing between you and success. They feel harmless. They feel like protection. They feel like logic. But in reality, excuses are nothing more than lies we tell ourselves to avoid responsibility, to avoid risk, to avoid the discomfort that comes with growth. Excuses are sneaky. They disguise themselves as circumstances, as limitations, as fairness. We convince ourselves that our lack of progress is because of something outside our control, our environment, upbringing, our finances, our situation, when the truth is we are allowing those excuses to shape our life. We are choosing to stay small instead of stretching. We are choosing to stay comfortable instead of stepping into what is possible. Here's the thing, everyone has circumstances. Everyone has limitations, but not everyone uses them as an excuse. Not everyone lets them define their destiny. Every excuse you make is a decision. It's a decision to stay where you are. It's a decision to protect your ego instead of challenge it. It's a decision to trade action for comfort. And every time you make that decision, it compounds. The habit of excuses builds a life of mediocrity. It tells your mind, you are not capable. You are not ready. You cannot succeed. And eventually you begin to believe it. You begin to think that your life is limited by external forces, when in fact, your life is limited by your willingness to take responsibility and act. Excuses are easy because they remove accountability. It's much simpler to say, I can't because, than to say, I'll figure out how. It's much safer to blame circumstances than to confront your own fears, your own laziness, lack of preparation. But here's the truth. The moment you stop making excuses, the moment you take full responsibility for your life, is the moment you reclaim your power. Responsibility is the antidote to excuses. Responsibility is the key that unlocks potential. Responsibility is the choice that separates those who live ordinary lives from those who achieve extraordinary results. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has faced obstacles, setbacks, failures, and challenges. Every single one of them. And do you know what they did? They didn't make excuses. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't blame the world. They decided every single day that they would find a way. They decided that nothing outside them could dictate their inner drive, their discipline, their commitment. They decided that they were in charge of their results. And that decision over time changed everything. Excuses are also comforting because they create a story where you are the victim. I would have succeeded if only I could have done it, but sound familiar? That's the language of excuses. It gives you a false sense of power because it shifts the blame to someone or something else. But in reality, being a victim is disempowering. It robs you of agency. It convinces you that your success is dependent on factors you cannot control. The hard truth is success is never outside you. It is always inside you. Your choices, your actions, your commitment, that's where the power lies. Excuses are the enemy of action, and action is the bridge between dreams and reality. Every time you give in to an excuse, you delay the life you want. Every time you rationalize an action, you steal from your potential. Every time you blame circumstances, you reinforce limitation. The good news is that excuses can be eliminated the moment you decide that your results matter more than your comfort. The moment you decide that progress matters more than protection. The moment you decide that success is worth discomfort, risk, responsibility. And here's the thing, excuses don't just hold you back externally, they hold you back internally. They shrink your confidence. They erode your self-belief. They make you question your worth, your ability, your capacity to grow. You start to measure yourself against limitations you think are real, but are really just manufactured by the stories you tell yourself. And the more excuses you make, the smaller your world becomes. Your opportunities shrink, your dreams fade, and eventually your life feels like a collection of missed chances, a gallery of what ifs, a series of moments where you could have acted but didn't. The path to eliminating excuses begins with awareness. Start by noticing when you make them. Pay attention to the phrases that come out of your mouth, the stories you tell yourself, the reasons you rationalize an action. Then challenge them. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this real? Am I creating a limitation because it's comfortable? You will find time and time again that the obstacles you thought were insurmountable are actually opportunities in disguise. The challenges you blame for your inaction are actually doors waiting for you to open them. That the fear you justified is actually the signal to move forward, not backward. And then comes the hardest part, action. Because awareness alone doesn't eliminate excuses. Action does. Doing, creating, showing up, moving forward. These are the antidotes. When you act, excuses fall away. When you move, fear diminishes. When you step into responsibility, limitations vanish. The person who acts is unstoppable because they no longer negotiate with excuses. They no longer tolerate delay. They no longer allow comfort, fear, or doubt to dictate the size of their life. They choose action over rationalization, growth over stagnation, responsibility over blame. Here's a powerful truth. Excuses are easy, but success is not. Comfort is easy, but mastery is not. Blaming others is easy, but achievement is not. That's why so many people remain stuck watching life pass them by, complaining about what could have been, wondering why opportunities never came. But you don't have to be one of them. You can choose differently. You can refuse to make excuses. You can embrace responsibility. You can act even imperfectly. Even when conditions aren't ideal, you can take control of your life and demand the results you deserve. And the beauty of this is that once you stop making excuses, a transformation occurs. You start to see possibilities everywhere. You start to notice opportunities you never saw before. You begin to trust yourself. You build momentum. Every decision to act strengthens your courage, sharpens your focus, and expands your capacity. The life that once seemed out of reach suddenly comes into view because you stopped letting excuses decide for you. You became the master of your destiny, and nothing outside you can take that power away. So I want you to commit right here, right now, that you will no longer let excuses govern your life. Identify them, face them, challenge them, and then act in spite of them. Take one step, one decision, one action today that proves to yourself that you are responsible, capable, and unstoppable. Take another and another, because that is how extraordinary lives are built, not by waiting, not by rationalizing, not by blaming, but by refusing to give excuses any more power. That is the fourth enemy you must eliminate if you want success. Let's talk about distractions. Those little things that seem harmless at first, those tiny interruptions that whisper, just for a minute, or it won't hurt to check this, or you can multitask, it's fine. Distractions are everywhere. They come from your phone, your social media, endless entertainment, notifications, emails, the constant noise of the world around you. They seem small, almost insignificant, but let me tell you, the cost of distractions is enormous. They are stealthy thieves of success, silently robbing you of your focus, your energy, and ultimately destiny. Here's the thing about distractions. They are seductive because they feel like choice. You tell yourself, I'll just check one thing. I'll just scroll for a moment. I'll just watch one video. And in that moment, it feels harmless, even enjoyable. But those tiny moments add up. Minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into days. Days turn into weeks. Before you know it, precious time, the very resource that builds success, has slipped through your fingers, wasted on things that don't matter. And the more distracted you are, the less progress you make, the less clarity you have, and the further you move from your goals. Distractions do more than just waste time. They scatter your focus. They fragment your energy. Every time you switch your attention from a meaningful task to something trivial, your brain has to reset. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled away from what matters, you lose momentum. And momentum is the secret of success. Momentum is what makes the difference between a dreamer and a doer. Distractions rob you of momentum, and without momentum, even the most talented, intelligent, or motivated person will struggle to achieve anything of significance. Think about your daily life. How often do you sit down to accomplish something important only to find your attention hijacked by notifications, emails, or a random video that appears on your feed? How often do you tell yourself, "I'll do it later," while the world around you pulls you in a dozen directions at once? That is the invisible cost of distraction. It's not just the minutes you lose, it's the clarity you lose, the creativity you lose, capacity to think deeply and act decisively. Distraction doesn't just steal time, it steals the quality of your life. And the danger is distractions are endless. The world will always provide something more entertaining, more urgent, compelling than the work that matters. There will always be a new notification, a new trend, a new show, a new must-see moment. The problem isn't the distractions themselves. The problem is how often we allow them to control us. The problem is that we hand over our attention without even thinking about it. Attention is the currency of achievement. And if you give it away to every passing distraction, you have nothing left for your goals. Here's another thing to consider. Distractions are sneaky because they make you feel busy while keeping you unproductive. You check emails, scroll social media, respond to messages, and suddenly the day is over. You feel tired. You feel accomplished, but in reality, you have done very little to move toward what matters most. That feeling of busy but not productive is the hallmark of distraction, and the tragedy is most people never even notice it. They accept it as normal, as part of life, without realizing that they are letting their most valuable resource, time and attention, slip away without ever taking control. But here's the good news: distraction can be defeated, not by luck, not by waiting for the perfect environment, by hoping the world becomes quieter. Distraction is defeated by focus, by intention, by deliberate action. You must decide every day what matters most. You must protect your attention like it's the most valuable asset in the world, because it is. You must learn to say no to the trivial, the urgent but unimportant, the noise, the interruptions, the dopamine traps that promise pleasure but deliver nothing of lasting value. Focus is your superpower, and the moment you master it, distractions lose their grip. Focus is cultivated. It's not something you are born with. It's something you train. Start by creating boundaries. Turn off notifications. Set aside dedicated time to work without interruption. Schedule blocks of deep, uninterrupted work. Protect your mornings. Protect your energy. Protect your priorities. Every choice to focus strengthens your ability to ignore the trivial and engage fully with what matters. Every act of attention directed toward your goals compounds. The results are exponential. And here's something critical: distractions don't just steal your time, they steal your energy. Every time you shift attention, every time you stop and start again, your brain expends energy resetting itself. Mental clarity suffers, your creativity diminishes. Your capacity to think strategically and execute decisively erodes. Distractions are not just a time thief. They are an energy thief. And energy, like time, is the raw material of success. Protect it fiercely. Channel it deliberately. Invest it in what matters, and you will see results far beyond what you imagine. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but the world is full of distractions. I can't avoid them all. Life demands my attention in so many directions. And I get it, we live in a noisy, fast-moving world. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of distraction. It's mastery over it. The people who achieve extraordinary results know how to focus. They know how to prioritize. They know how to eliminate the non-essential. They don't let the world pull them in a dozen directions. They decide what matters and they protect it relentlessly. Distraction is also dangerous because it hides behind business. You can fill your day with so many small tasks, errands, and meaningless actions that it feels like progress, but in reality, you are avoiding the work that matters. You are avoiding the discomfort of deep, meaningful, goal-directed action. You are avoiding the courage required to move toward the life you want. That is why so many people work tirelessly, feel exhausted, and yet end the day with nothing to show for it. Distraction disguised as business is one of the greatest enemies of fulfillment and success. So here's the challenge I want to leave with you today. Take control of your attention. Examine your life and identify where distractions are stealing your energy, focus, and your progress. Commit to protecting your time and your mind. Decide right now what is non-negotiable, what is sacred, and what deserves your full attention. Cut away the trivial. Eliminate the interruptions. Routines that reinforce focus. And most importantly, act on the things that truly matter with intensity, consistency, and discipline. Remember this: every moment you give your attention to something unimportant is a moment you steal from your success. Every time you allow a distraction to control you, you reinforce mediocrity. But every time you choose focus, every time you direct your energy toward what matters, you reclaim power. You move closer to your goals. You accelerate your momentum. You shape the life you want instead of letting the world shape it for you. Focus is freedom. Focus is power. Focus is the bridge to extraordinary results. And that is the fifth enemy you must eliminate if you want success. Let's talk about discipline. Discipline is the foundation of every success story, the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. And yet, it is the enemy that so many people underestimate, the skill so few truly master. Talent alone won't carry you. Opportunity alone won't carry you. Motivation alone won't carry you. Because motivation is fleeting, talent is wasted without action, and opportunity is meaningless without execution. Discipline, on the other hand, is the bridge. Discipline is the engine. Discipline is what converts your intentions into results. And without it, even the most brilliant plans, the most burning desire, and the clearest vision will remain just that: plans, desires, and visions. Discipline is not about punishment. It's not about rigid rules or deprivation. It's about creating systems, routines, and habits that allow you to consistently move forward, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing what needs to be done, not what is easy or convenient. It's about choosing long-term results over short-term comfort. And here's the hard truth: most people avoid discipline because it feels uncomfortable. It demands effort, it demands consistency, it demands sacrifice. Anything that demands sacrifice is easy to justify avoiding, but avoidance is the enemy of greatness. Think about it: what separates someone who achieves their goals from someone who doesn't is not intelligence, not luck. Circumstance, it's discipline, it's showing up every day, rain or shine, tired or energized, motivated or not. It's putting in the work when nobody is watching. It's doing the things today that your future self will thank you for. Discipline is the quiet force that compounds over time. It doesn't make headlines, it doesn't create immediate gratification, but it creates results that last, impact that endures, and lives that are transformed. The problem is, most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about perfection. They think it's about being harsh on themselves. They think it's about never enjoying life. And that belief paralyzes them. True discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about creating momentum. It's about making the decision over and over again to do what matters, to follow through, to honor your commitments. It's not about intensity for one day, 1 week, or 1 month. It's about the daily practice that compounds into mastery. Now, think about your own life for a moment. How many goals have you set that you didn't achieve? How many promises did you make to yourself that you didn't keep? How many dreams have slipped away because you didn't have the discipline to follow through? That feeling of frustration, that weight of regret, that sting of knowing you could have done more, that's what happens when discipline is absent. And the sad truth is, it's preventable. Every single day, you have the power to strengthen your discipline, to reclaim control, to shape the trajectory of your life. Discipline is also the enemy of excuses. When you commit to discipline, excuses lose their power. You no longer say, I can't because I'll do it later, or I don't have time. Discipline forces you to act regardless. It forces you to prioritize. It forces you to take ownership. And when you do that consistently, the results are unstoppable. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop rationalizing delay. You stop letting fear, procrastination, and distraction dictate your actions. Discipline puts you back in control of your life. Here's another critical point. Discipline is what transforms knowledge into results. You can read every book, attend every seminar, watch every tutorial, and dream every dream, but without discipline, none of it matters. Knowledge without execution is useless. Passion without consistency is wasted energy. Vision without follow through is a fantasy. Discipline is the thread that connects learning to doing, intention to achievement, and potential to reality. And the people who understand this, who embrace it, rise above the masses. They don't just dream, they do. They don't just hope, they create. They don't just plan, they execute. Discipline also builds confidence. There is no greater source of self-belief than showing up for yourself repeatedly, day after day, taking action, following through, and honoring your commitments. Every time you act with discipline, you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are reliable, that you can trust yourself to handle challenges. That confidence compounds just like the results. The more disciplined you become, the more control you feel, the more capable you become, and the more momentum you build toward the life you desire. But let's be honest, discipline is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It doesn't give instant gratification. It's uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It requires delay of pleasure. It requires saying no to short-term temptations in favor of long-term gains. And that is why so few people master it. Those who do, those who embrace it, those who commit to it are unstoppable. They create their own destiny. They shape their own results. They become the architects of their lives. Here's the truth. Discipline is not about being motivated every day. Motivation comes and goes. You cannot rely on it. Discipline is what carries you when motivation fades. Discipline is what pushes you to act when you feel tired, when you feel doubt, when you feel resistance. Discipline is the inner engine that runs even when the world seems against you. And it's that engine over time that builds mastery, achievement, and success that lasts. And the beauty of discipline is this: it compounds. The smallest actions consistently become extraordinary results. A disciplined morning routine, a disciplined work ethic, a disciplined mindset. These small decisions multiply. They create habits. Habits create momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create the life you imagine, the life you deserve, the life that others envy. Discipline is the quiet power behind every great life, every remarkable achievement, every story of triumph. So I want you to commit today. Commit to your discipline. Decide that no matter what, you will honor your commitments, follow through on your plans, and take action even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or challenging. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. Protect your standards. Every decision to act with discipline strengthens the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every day you choose discipline over convenience, action over delay, consistency over chaos. You build the life you were meant to live. Remember, discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters. It's not about instant gratification. It's about long-term transformation. The people who achieve greatness understand this. They do what must be done when it must be done, whether they feel like it or not. And that is why they succeed where others fail. That is why their dreams become reality while others remain just dreams. Discipline is the foundation, the engine, and the bridge to success. It is the root of every accomplishment, the heartbeat of every achievement, and the secret weapon of every person who has ever risen above the ordinary. Without it, potential is wasted. Dreams are delayed and results never materialize. With it, anything is possible. And that is the sixth and final enemy you must conquer if you want success.